So we thought we'd introduce you to recovery coaching and what it looks like. I'm Kevin, and I've got a bit of a problem here. I don't think I've got a problem with my drinking, but my partner has left the house with the kids and won't let me see the kids until my drinking is under control. And I've reached out to a recovery coach and Shelley to see how we can work around that. So that's what we're going to be doing now. So, hello, Shelley.
Hi, Kevin. So, how are you today?
Okay, life is okay. Work is fine, but I've run into a bit of a problem with my partner and the kids. They seem to have some kind of issue around my drinking, so
Oh,
I'm not able to see the kids, and my partner has left the house. So, bit of a
must be
snag
hard.
there. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
So, what's the situation in, like, are you still living in the house or is she living in the house? She's
I'm living in the
left?
house. She's left with the kids.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay. So, what was sort of the impetus to all of this? Like, what's been going on, say, in the last couple of weeks before she left?
well, she's grown a little bit sensitive to my drinking. It hasn't really changed, but she's become sensitive to it, and blew up the other night and grabbed the kids and left.
Oh, what do you think brought that on?
I don't know. No idea.
Well, unpack it a little bit with me, if you can. Like, in the occasion that this happened, what were the issues that were coming up for her? What was the thing that most got under her skin? Do you
Okay.
think?
Well, she's always nagged me a bit about my drinking, and I get the idea she might not want to be second place to my drinking, but but it seemed to hit a bit of a boil when I came home and I'd had a few drinks with the boys, and she said, "That's it. I'm taking the kids and I'm out." And so she went and got a hotel room or something to stay at until I get my drinking under control, which is, as far as I'm concerned, it's not out of control.
Okay, so things are a little uncertain right now. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, when she says your drinking is out of control, what picture is she painting? Or
I honestly don't know.
yeah.
Like, what is going on through her mind with regards to that.
Okay.
It's I like to go out with the boys and have some drinks. I have a high stress job, and so we go to the beer and we tip a few back just to decompress,
Sure.
and come home, and it's usually fine. But sometimes there's a bit of nagging about drinking and stuff like that, but she always kind of gets over it. This time she didn't.
Okay. Okay. So would you say that this sort of decompressing and going out with the guys, has that been something that's been happening in increasing frequency, or?
I wouldn't say with increasing frequency, maybe with increasing intensity. Like, maybe I'll have a few more drinks than I would normally. But, it takes what it takes to decompress.
Okay. So I'm just curious, like, when you have those more intense bouts of drinking, what are the results? Like, what does that look like? Paint me a picture.
What are the results with regards to what?
Well, you've noted that there's been sometimes that you go out with the guys, you have a few drinks, tip a few back, everything's fine,
Yep.
you get home, all is well. But the increasing intensity, where does that take you? Like, does that mean that are you drinking and driving? Are you like what's the fallout there
Yeah.
that she's noticed?
Okay, I get where you're going with that. So it's pretty much the same as it was. There was a DUI when I got stopped on the way home, and that stuff happens. It was just out, so So I think the cop saw me, you know, wandering out of my lane, pulled me over, gave me a DUI, and but that's just life. That happens.
So what was the result of that? Do you still have a license? Are you able to
Still before the
drive?
courts, so I still do have a license. I had a 24-hour roadside suspension, but I'm okay now, and I do have a court date, and they may pull away my license. I'm not sure what's going to go on there.
Okay. So what would that mean for you to lose your license?
It wouldn't be good. I'm in construction, so I need my truck.
Okay. And what else? Is there other things that you use a vehicle for that do you help out with the kids? Are the kids involved in sports or anything that you would do
Yep,
driving
getting
for?
the kids around is definitely part of it. I mean, we could work around that. I mean, my partner's got a car as well, so
Yeah.
you know, she can get the kids around. Really, primarily, it would impact my work.
Okay. Okay. So play that forward for me. Like, if you didn't have your license, it would have impact your work. Does that mean that you wouldn't be able to work at all? Your income would come to a stop? Like,
Pretty much, I wouldn't be able to work at all until that worked itself out.
okay. So let's just take a moment for just a moment to think about what you're saying, that where you are right now is that your wife and kids have left the home. You might possibly lose your license, which in turn would spill over into losing an income.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're at right now, which sounds like that's a place of uncertainty for sure. And what's the one common thing that you think that maybe has brought you to this place?
Well, probably the high stress of the job, for one.
Okay.
And yeah, probably the growing intensity of the drinking probably isn't for the best. It's like there are times when it does go over what I probably should drink. Does that mean it's out of control? I don't think so. I could taper a bit and you know, probably arrange for a taxi or a ride from one of my buddies.
Okay. So it sounds like you already have some ideas of what you might want to do or be prepared to do at this point
Yeah.
to make things better. Now, has your wife been sort of specific? Like, what are her expectations? Or actually, let me reframe that. What is something that, like, how would you like things to be going? We have a pretty good picture of where you're at right now today, but where would you like to be? Like, if you were to put everything back in its place, how would you like it to look? How would you like your life picture to look?
I'd like my partner and my kids back in the house, and I'd like this DUI to go away.
Okay. Okay, so kind of rewind on the tape, which would be magical, and I'd love to be able to offer that. So if that's not available, what might you do to create those that situation where your wife and kids would come back to you? We may or may not have any impact on the DUI, but let's start with the first item. With your wife and kids coming back to the home, what do you think you need to do?
I think from looking through her lens, I think that I need to sort of demonstrate for her that my drinking is under control. Now, that's probably, and I'm trying to imagine when she first started pestering me about the drinking, and you know, so when was it in control in her mind? I guess that's a discussion we have to have, but I think that the tapering and demonstrating to her that the drinking is under control would be the way to calm those waters.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, like, I'd love to work with you on that in terms of kind of figuring out what that tapering might look like. You've set a direction. You want to look at tapering your drinking. So can we start with sort of where are you at right now? Like how many drinks a week or per, episode, if you will, do you have, and where do you want to kind of slide the scale to?
Well, where I am right now is probably about 6 to 8 beers a night,
Okay.
and maybe a couple more on the weekends. And where could I get to that would be sort of in control? I think that cutting the beers down to 3 or 4 a night would probably be a start.
Okay. So are you drinking daily? Like the 6 to 8 that you're describing, is that pretty much
Yeah.
every day, every
Yep.
night of the week?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to keep the frequency, you're drinking daily, but cut it down by
Yeah.
about half, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Does that, like, when you hear yourself say that, does that feel like, yeah, I could do that? Or is it sort of like, oof,
A bit of both.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So when you're out drinking with your buddies,
Yeah.
is there sort of a length of time that you typically tend to be at? Like if you had 3 or 4 beers and you're out with the guys, maybe the game's just getting started or the guys are just starting to get into, that sort of top of mood. What will that be like to kind of withdraw yourself from that point? Or would you stay on and simply just drink, a Diet Coke or something?
I think if the
what would
game is
happen?
on, the game is on. So I'd probably stay there and, have a soda water or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that feel doable?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it sounds like you have a plan for during the week. What about, so on the weekends, you said that you throw on a couple of more. So normally you have 6 to 8 on work days. So, and on the weekends, it's like 10 or 12 on a,
Yeah.
on a weekend?
Yeah. So, for the weekends, my partner's normally around. I could probably just sort of take her temperature on what's going on, sort of get an idea as to when I need to. Because sometimes she's drinking. She'll have the 10 to 12 with me.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so this is sort of a shared experience on
Yeah.
weekends
Yeah.
only, but during the week, that's something that that you kind of go out with the guys and do.
yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. Like, what does she do while you're out with the guys and tipping a few and decompressing?
Prepping dinner and, doing stuff around the house, I guess.
Okay, okay. What do you think that might be like for her in terms of? Is she working right now or what?
No, I'm looking after the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah. And she likes puttering.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So when you think about I think the word that you had used was nagging. What kinds of things is she nagging you about?
Well, about coming home drunk. And that's the primary one, I would think.
Okay. Okay. So moving forward, looking at this plan of 3 or 4 per night during the week, is there anything else that you can think of that maybe you could add in that would be potentially a positive in her mind, if the goal is for her to return, right?
I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine why she wouldn't be satisfied with that idea.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you have a plan. You wanna enact this? Like when do you want to get this plan started?
Probably right away would be a good idea.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Except Monday. It's Monday Night Football. So maybe Tuesday start it.
Okay. So What other thing? Is it always a Monday night football? Is there always?
Most Monday nights is football, yeah.
Okay. So just thinking moving forward, Monday night football, when you think about where you're at right now and where you'd like to be, having the wife and kids back with you,
Yeah.
what feels more important to you right now? Like, because on the one hand, you're saying that you really, if you could rewind the tape and get everything put back in its place, you'd have wife and kids back at home.
Yeah.
But you've just said also that Monday night football, like that's a deal breaker. Like you're not going to pull back on that night. That's a full on night. So I'm just wondering, like, help me understand. I'm having a hard time understanding.
So I mean, Monday's coming up, and I want to give sort of some time to groom the guys that I'm going to be switching to soda water halfway through the night. Probably not going to be doing that on Monday, but over time I'll let them know that, hey, I want to cut back a bit, and I think on Mondays I'm just going to, I'll have a few drinks with you, but I'm going to cut back. But I'm not going to do that with a day's notice.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think the response is going to be from your friends? Like, it sounds like you guys have a pretty tight-knit group.
Yeah.
You guys have a good
They'd
time.
be supportive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do all of them drink about the same amount as you on any given night?
I can probably drink more than them on any given night, but
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you have a good plan
yeah,
for to get started.
sure.
And how will you know that things are starting to change or that you feel like you're successful for this, idea of scaling back?
Well, I'll let her know my plan.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And hopefully she moves back and brings the kids back with her. Then I'll know it's working.
Okay. Any guesses on how she might respond?
No idea.
Okay. So, what do you think that my best role could be in this situation for you? Like, how could I best support you?
I don't know. What is it that you do? Like, I mean, I heard that recovery coaches were good and could help me through this, and I'm not really sure what role you would play with regards to this.
Yeah, sure. That's. I'm glad you brought that up. So recovery coaching is simply, an exchange of information, a collaboration of kind of where you're at, much like we have kind of discussed here today, and looking at where do you want to go, right? What's happening in your life? What's important to you? You've reiterated that your wife and kids are important to you. That's something that you want to get them back, in the home and have a continued relationship. You've also said that it's important for you to be able to decompress. You have a lot of stress in your job, and you like to hang out with the guys and connect with them, so that's also important to you. You also have a bit of a cloud over you right now with the DUI, and there's some uncertainty. Potentially, you might have to, give up your work if you lost your license or maybe make some alterations. So our work together really would be about, where are you now? What do you care about? What are you looking to change in your life that would bring about the results that you desire? And unpack what the obstacles might be. Take a look at what are the and help you to build your recovery capital, what we call recovery capital, which is those intrinsic, internal and external elements of building a good, healthy life, whatever that might look like for you, right? So, those could be connections to the community, resources that may become available to you, And then internal motivations, that's sort of like what I touched on around what are the things that you care about. What does Kevin really want to do in his life? You mentioned that you have a very stressful job. Maybe that's something that we would unpack a little bit further and go, hey, is this actually working for you, right? Is this the life that you actually want?
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
know? So, that's some of the things. And then, providing resources as you may need them and support through some of these changes. Change is never easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just helping you to really unpack what's important for you, where do you want to go, what do you want to do, and support you through it. It sounds like you have a really you have a great desire for your family to be back
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
You're a family man. You have good buds. You have good relationships in your life. So you have a job. Obviously you have a vehicle. So you have some recovery capital there already. Like you have some good things going for you in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to, continue to build on those.
Yeah. So how often would we meet?
Well, you know what? This is really, that's a great question. Client-centered. Like I would suggest that how often do you want to meet? Commonly when I work with a client, it's somebody that we may work, more initially as we kind of look at what all, the broad scope of the issues that you're facing. And then over time, as you work on your goals, maybe it'll be a little longer between sessions. But initially, commonly it's maybe once or twice a week, maybe even more, depending on what your needs are.
Okay. And what we talk about, that stays between us?
Absolutely, yeah. This is we do have a confidentiality agreement, and yeah, what you share with me here stays here unless there is, a risk of harm to yourself or a child or an elder.
And if my lawyer asks for it, would you be able to write a letter saying that you're working with me for the courts when the DUI thing comes up?
If that was something that was required, absolutely. One of my roles as a recovery coach is as an advocate. So I could certainly let them know that I'm working with you, but I would not be sharing what we're talking about or what we're working on. It would just simply be a confirmation that I am working with you, and whatever you wanted to share beyond that would be your responsibility. So yeah.
Okay. So Tuesday start on 3 to 4 beers a night.
Okay, Tuesday next week. That's going to be
Yeah.
your day.
Yeah.
So, how do you want to navigate the next couple of days between now and next Tuesday?
How so?
Well, is there any like are you planning on remaining status quo? 6 to 8 beers in the weeknights and
Might try and
heavier over the
step it
weekend.
down a little bit. Start day is Tuesday.
The official start date, and maybe you'll practice between now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, being intentional.
Well, practice switching,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If I'm into the fourth or fifth beer, then think about switching to soda.
Yeah. Okay. So, one of the things that I offer too is, just even outside of the sessions is even just texting. If you feel like, what, I really need to connect with somebody about this, that's one of the roles that I offer as well, is just if you want to text, you need some support, having a hard time, I can give you, for a short exchange, that's okay. But if it feels like it's a bigger issue, then we'd probably want to get on a phone call.
Okay.
So, yeah, outside of that, it's, yeah, I'm really glad you came in today, and I'm totally, I'm excited that you've decided to make a change. Like, this is huge, right?
Yeah.
For you to be deciding that, you know what, yeah, this is something that I want to pay attention to, and I want to do something different. Like, have you ever done that before?
No.
So this is sort of a first time reaching out for help.
Yeah.
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 Wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. So, that was a lot of fun to do. And you know what? I think you probably have a lot of questions as to maybe why I didn't say certain things or why I said certain things. So, in the next session, we're going to be talking about exactly that, and we're going to unpack some of what just happened.